Morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. In this episode, I'm going to be starting a series of segments, and I'm going to be tackling albums that turned 50 in 2023. Now, for this episode, for the very first episode, I'm going to be tackling the debut release from my favorite band, Queen. Now, Queen's debut was released on July 13th, 1973, in the UK and Europe. It was released through Elektra in North America on September 4th, 1973. Queen was also signed to Elektra in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. Now that I've covered pretty much all the territories, let's talk about this album. For those of you out there who think of Queen and just think of them as a stadium rock band with, these, these big anthems like "We Will Rock You," "We Are the Champions," "I Want to Break Free," Radio Gaga with the hand claps. That's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you have to remember is that at the very root, at the very foundation of Queen, was that Queen were a hard rock band at the very heart of it all. They were a hard rock band that combined heavy rock with melodic, lush harmonies on top. And they combined such elements beautifully. Okay. The debut album, released through, recorded at TAP, Trident Audio Productions, was recorded through the end of 71 into 72. And it was recorded very piecemeal style, meaning the band were not allotted studio time during the day. They were basically given dead time to record their album, meaning when other established acts such as Bowie or Elton John or maybe even T-Rex were not recording, they were given that time. So they could have been called to go in the studio at 2 a.m., could have been called to go in the studio at midnight, 4 a.m., whenever there was dead time, in order for them to get their stuff done. And the album, I got to say, is a bloody damn good album. It is. Jack Holtzman, the founder of Elektra Asylum or Elektra Records, has said in interviews that when you listen to the album, he said that it was like a fine cut jewel landing in your lap. Because unlike some other albums that are released, or debut albums that were released, the Queen debut had a proportion, a size to it, texture, different levels to it. So he was a big champion of the band. He really pushed for this band to be signed right from the beginning. And when he saw them at the Marquee Club, he sent a telegram. Back in the day, they sent telegrams back to his office in New York and said, "I have seen the future of rock and roll, and its name is Queen." So he quickly offered them this contract. The album was produced by Roy Baker, known also as Roy Thomas Baker, John Anthony, and the band. Now, John Anthony would only work with Queen on this one album because he and Freddie Mercury apparently did not get along. They were arguing during the recording, so it was decided after the release of this that they wouldn't work with him again. Roy Thomas Baker would go on to work with Queen for the next 3 albums, and then Jazz in 1978. Now, in terms of the music on this album, again, fundamentally, it's a hard rock album. The 2 singles that were released from this album were Keep Yourself Alive, which, when released in the UK, was rejected by the BBC radio no less than 5 times. Don't know why. I don't know why. They could not get airplay for this single. A second release was set for America, and it was a heavily edited version of the track Liar, which starts off side 2. Now, just a bit of a backtrack. This album, again, overall, fundamentally, is a hard rock album. Very layered guitars. The harmony vocals were there, but they really didn't come into full fruition until Queen 2. By the time this album was released, the band had already been touring around and at colleges, etc., doing small gigs and basically gearing up for their next album. But they thought that that the material on Queen 1, we'll call it, pretty much was old because they had already recorded it. They've been playing the music for 3 years up to that point, and they wanted to move on to the next album. But if you look at Queen 1, you have songs like Keep Yourself Alive, which starts off the album, written by Brian May. Then you have a song like Doing All Right, written by Brian May and Tim Staffel, which starts off very beautifully on the piano. Almost, you think it's a ballad, then it goes into a bit of a jazz section, and then it goes into a hard rock section. So it's got different sections to it, different levels. You've got Great King Rat, written by Freddie Mercury, where he makes his writing debut. And the guitars come in almost like feedback. And then Brian May hits the chord, and it's very loud. And it goes into the track. The drums kick in. It's almost like it has like a galloping kind of a drum pattern to it. And that song has, again, different sections to it. And the themes on this album range from religious themes to mythical themes, as you hear on My Fairy King, which ends side 1. And that song, in and of itself, it's only, I don't want to say only, but it's 4 minutes and change. But the key changes in that song, and the tempo changes, and the ethereal vocal delivery from the band is amazing. It is just amazing. You might hear the dog thumping and scratching herself under the table. I apologize if you do. Side 2 starts off with Liar, and Liar started out as a song called Lover that Freddie Mercury started to write when he was in a band called Wreckage. So he took the song and reworked the lyrical idea of it and presented it to the band as Liar. And they recorded it. It clocks in at 6 minutes 35 seconds. Magnum opus, fantastic. Different sections, layered harmonies, layered guitars, like unbelievable. The next track, The Night Comes Down, is written by Brian May. It is the only track on the album that was a demo from the Delane Lee sessions that they did. They recorded a bunch of songs at a recording studio called Delane Lee. And this is the only track that survived the demos, like from the demo sessions. This is the actual demo. And if you listen to it, the drums are so crisp and clear on this demo that they try to re-record it, a proper version of it, but it didn't meet their satisfaction. So they used the demo of The Night Comes Down, followed by Modern Times Rock and Roll, a 1 minute and 20-second blistering hard rock guitar piece written by Roger Taylor, basically telling people, that a whole new revolution's coming through of rock music. So you better be ready. Hold on tight, because it's going to go white hot. And if you don't hang on and enjoy the ride, you're going to miss out. It's the way it is, right? And then that goes into Son and Daughter, written by Brian May, which is basically a fantastic blues number. This was the B-side to Keep Yourself Alive. When they did this song live, it was basically an 8-minute opus, because there was a section that they would do live in concert where Freddie would leave the stage for a break, and then Brian May would go into his famous guitar solo. You would hear elements of Brighton Rock in the solo. Brighton Rock dates back to 1969 when they were in Smile. There's a song called Blag that they did. Anyways, back to Son and Daughter, a fantastic blues number. That goes into Jesus, another Freddie Mercury composition. Again, religious overtones and fantastic. There's a section of the track where it goes into an improv section where, the guitars take over, and it's just beautiful guitar sweeping effects that they do, just soaring guitar riffs. And then it goes back into the song, and it fades out on the band doing an a cappella outro. From Jesus, it goes into Seven Seas of Rye. Now, Seven Seas of Rye on this album is 1 minute and 15 seconds, and it's basically a teaser as to what they were going to do on the next album. Of course, the fans didn't know that at the time. They just thought it was like a nice little outro. But the original idea was that the finished version of Seven Seas of Rye was going to start Queen 2. But they quickly changed that idea, came up with a different concept, but that's for another show. So what you have with Queen as a debut, you have an album that, again, is hard rock at its core, but it does take you on a ride of different musical textures and musical genres. So for anyone out there who has not listened to Queen 1, please stream it, but yet go buy it, listen to it, and you will not be disappointed. Okay, again, I know Queen are looked at as just, a stadium band with like these, Another One Bites the Dust and Killer Queen and I Want to Break Free. But that they're not just that. They are at the very core a fantastic hard rock band. So do yourself a favor, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and check out this album. You will not be disappointed. So that's it for now. Hopefully you guys like this episode, and please leave your comments down below. Do you know of Queen's debut? I don't know where you've been, sorry, if you haven't heard of it yet, but please check it out. Leave your comments down below. Do you like Queen? Do you not like Queen? Do you think that they've had it? Do you think that they were a band that were overhyped. You know, give me your opinion. And again, please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for any new content that I've got coming up. I'm going to be doing a few more of these segments because there are quite a few albums that were released in 1973 that are fantastic. So that's it for now. And hopefully you guys are having a great day and you're looking after yourselves and one another. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye for now.